Hello, I hope all is progressing well. Welcome to I Don't Know, We Can Talk About It, where we discuss myriads of topics civilly, responsibly, reasonably. My name is Kevin Dufresne. The first topic concerns state change in sexual education, changing a word, which changes a lot of processes, equality to equity in regard to sex and gender identity. Of course, creating separate classrooms creates a divide in itself that branches into families. I think it's really important to acknowledge gender identity. Identity itself is encompassing of a lot more than biology, that revolves around philosophy, theory, and many more well-rounding areas of human development. Whereas sex, really focusing on biology, is, like gender identity, full of many different layers and levels, though, to me, much easier to navigate in terms of teaching and connection with students at varying levels. There are young children that are still trying to understand differences between the urethra, between a man and a woman, female, male, biologically, understanding where pee comes from between the man and the woman, female, male, which is a part of simply understanding human biology, a human's body, in comparison to gender identity, which involves a lot more, which courses in higher education tend to cover. Hence, the reason for me believing that maturity is going to vary per student, though per course load, meaning that biology, sex, is a lot easier to compartmentalize, to elevate, to escalate, to teach. Health, sex education, in comparison to gender identity, which I think can be a part of sex education, though gender identity in itself is bigger than simply biology or how one might want to think to be in connection with all the other aspects of being a human being. The other part the article mentions is in terms of privacy. And I think that if any individual chooses to proceed in any form of sexual change, transition, that person can make a private decision, though when a private decision becomes a situation that individuals feel needs to be public, not saying every person going through the situation wants all the identity aspects to be public, then I think that individuals need to be in a situation in which, well, sex education, considering biology, is considering how simply body parts work. The identity portion is going to require a lot more than one course. It's going to require a lot more than one experience to really understand. I figure identity is always developing, like one's brain is always developing throughout life. So how one chooses to identify on the basis of simply sex, especially in connection with learning about such parameters in school, is going to likely vary as environments change, as one continues to grow in the world and learn more about the world. And I think education needs to be very mindful, education at large needs to be very mindful of parameters in which students are being put, even if a few people may complain, keeping the standard for understanding how simply a human body functions and processes on a base level is awesome and very helpful for people choosing to identify as however, whatever, whenever in private, especially if feeling as though conversation of the sort might affect how one is in school, which, like I said, I think learning of one's body is a way to learn of oneself. So learning the base of each body is important. Gender identity is different than sex. So keeping such a balance in everyone's mind can be very helpful. Additionally, aside from simply changing a word to equity and attempting to formulate from a new standard. Privacy is privacy. There are balances that are necessary. I'm not saying not to teach about identity, particularly gender identity, though I am saying that one's gender identity will be a process of life, which is way more well-rounding than one might find simply in one class or a couple of courses or a few conversations. Being, what we're doing, being is very important to one's identity. The next topic concerns health. Go figure. Being in nature can add more years to one's life. Studies are still in process, though the article is covering benefits of being in greenery, being in nature, and assessing individuals in different environments. More research will happen, though evidence shows on a molecular level a human being's biology is different in greener environments. So wonderful to know, because I'm an appreciator of nature. I think nature is amazing. I love the country. I think city living may be convenient, though considering so many transitions in terms of how people can work, in terms of how people can communicate, in terms of how people can travel, if even necessary, the possibilities of making life longer are available, and I'm really glad about nature receiving another boost of natural advertising. I don't think it's strange to recognize, to find out that nature is beneficial for one's health. So, with that, we're going to move on to dun, 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 on origami. So what we're going to make now is an origami packaging box. So first off, I'm going to fold this in twice. Edge to edge fold. I'm going to fold in edge to edge fold. Then I'm going to fold in corner to corner. Now, corner to corner is a very, very important part of the origami process. Ready? Corner to corner. Yeah. It's going to allow us to bring into different folds. So if we go corner to corner, we can get into our diamond fold, which is what we're going to need for here. If we do not go corner to corner on the insides, we're not going to be able to get that diamond fold the same. It's just the way it is with origami. So like, for example, the edge to edge fold that you see here, when I cross edge to edge, I get a triangle more easily than a diamond. We're going to stick with the diamond though, because that's what the focus is here. So the diamond comes in here. Okay. Now, I am going to have to fold each flap over. So flap one over, and then I'm just going to fold the flap over here again. That's it. Just fold the flap one, or right to left flap. And now I'm going to take these corners in. Very important part. Take the corners in here. So what I'm doing is taking the corners in. It's going to be easier to see on the other side. So when I do them for both sides, I'm going to take the corners in right here. Okay. Now, I am going to take each flap down on the front. So take the flap down on the front. See that? So I'm taking the front flaps down. Now the instructions will say to actually bring the flaps back up. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to take the flaps, and then I am going to follow instructions over here, and it says take the bottom flap and just fold it in twice. Now, of course, you have instructions to go along here with this, so don't feel like there's a rush. The other portion is, what you can do in terms of this origami is, you can reopen it, so like that side's there, and I can just fold the flaps over and basically fold down again. So fold these top flaps down on both sides. So I'm gonna just fold them down here on both sides. So I have that fold out, and then I can fold it like this, the bottom portion, so I can have more of a square fold. And then what I'm gonna do now is just basically, I'm just gonna open it. So I'm gonna basically pop this open, and voila, we have our packaging box. Dun dun. And with the packaging box, it's cool because you can literally just set the packaging box down, and you can put things inside. You can hold pencils, and if you put a little bit of tape or a sticker, as the instructions show, then it can actually hold a little better. Though the hold will be perfectly fine if you just, like I say, fold multiple times inside out and fold down. And yeah, this is what we have, our packaging box. What's cool is you can actually just flip these if you really care to. The top parts, and you can flip them, and if you want to put something else in it and send it to somebody, you can. Alright, so it's pretty cool. Now, of course, we are going to talk about two films I recently watched. I recently watched Haunted Mansion and Talk to Me. Okay, first off, Haunted Mansion is a fun, goofy film. I don't find the film scary. I think the film is really a film that has moral lessons for children in the horror genre. So we're talking about honesty and fulfilling one's role, appreciating one's abilities, sticking up for oneself, good customer service. We're looking at person, a scientist that becomes a tour guide, gets into a relationship, and certain developments happen through technology in connection with the ephemeral realm, the ghost realm, and the scientist becomes a laughing stock for a bit, so becomes a tour guide. After tragedy and trauma, a different family moves into a mansion in New Orleans, in this town here, and they come into this entirely different history of family feuds, and the scientist technology may prove useful now. I think the acting partners fulfill the film well. I think that the film is put together well. The film has comedy moments. I really feel like the film can be in a family room where people watch television as a go-to film to watch, more so than I do feel like the film is an in-theater film to watch. That is actually a good thing when I say such a thing, because I feel like it's a film that's easy to say, I'll just pop that on, versus, oh, I'm gonna go see this and it's gonna be perfect for the screen. It fits the screen well, though the feel of the film feels very homey. I like the film, and for a horror genre film, it's very friendly for people that are trying to enter into watching those type of films, though really veer from watching horror type of films. Now, going on to the film, Talk to Me. Oh my goodness, this film is creepy. It is a horror. It is full of frightening elements. The whole concept of holding a hand that belongs to seemingly a medium, and somehow this hand is in the hands of these children. I feel like the film is really out there, and I find the film to be very, very creepy. I like the acting partners. I think the acting partners fulfill the film well. I think the filmography is cool. I think the way the messages in the film, the portrayal is good to get a point across about what everyone might be going through. Though I feel like the film is really between this psychic and spiritual and mental realm, and playing between these three can be very tricky, which I think the film does a good job of noting balances, though I really feel like this is a beginning for a series because of the context. I don't know how the context is going to play out, though I can definitely see somewhat of a retribution story, which is very hard to believe because of how the ending is. The film is very creepy. I know I'm not gonna ever choose a horror as a first for me to watch. This film especially is to a level where I'm like, oh my goodness. I don't even want to look at the screen at times. It's very gruesome. Definitely needs trigger warnings because of the contents in the film. We're looking at just self-harm, we're looking at possession, we're looking at these creepy connections into, like I say, the psychic, mental, and spiritual realm, though breaching into the physical realm. And the film brings a lot to discuss, though I don't think I'm really gonna look to rewatch the film, though I may check out a sequel, because I think the story can develop very well from there. We're really looking at a lot in the film to analyze. So the next topic concerns what I really enjoy. Books, The Joy of Sex, by Dr. Alex Comfort. I find the text to be appetizing. The text really revolves around exploring sexually more so by practice with touches of philosophy, indicating why not encouraging to experiment well, safely, reasonably, with a few techniques. Here, try this, explore from here. The analogies are all in connection with like gourmet chefing. So basically elevating one's elements, one's menu, one's ingredients in relation to the sexual intercourse. I like the book. I think the book has a few interesting references, and I think that The Joy of Sex does offer another avenue to enjoy sexual intercourse from different perspectives. Even reading the text, I'm like, I can appreciate the sentiments of the text, and I think that reading texts of the sort are beneficial, at least for me, or can be beneficial for one entering a relationship to become a better partner and just better romantic life / romantic partner. So, thank you for joining me for another episode of I Don't Know, We Can Talk About It. Remember, I Don't Know, We Can Talk About It works in tandem with piatures.com, www.piatures.com. Onward and upward, Kevin Dufresne.